Rotor Clip is the manufacturer of retaining rings, snap rings, circlips, non-threaded fasteners, pliers, dispensers, applicators, hose clamps, axial rings, radial. Arken Ring is the go-to resource for the latest news regarding retaining rings and snap rings, from custom design and manufacturing to usage and upkeep. Retaining rings restrain coils, insulation and blocking near the end turns of a generator. See the latest news about Seeger Orbis, its products, its people, and its customers. News, history, locations, products, FTG quarter turn fasteners, pins, advanced search, contact, quick quote, products, retaining rings, RTW. Our external retaining rings are made from either beryllium copper or carbon spring steel and can be custom manufactured to sizes ranging from 125 to 10.00. Retaining ring, RR1109, fits, Hobart, model 5700, 5701, 6614, 6801, description, retaining ring, tags, shop by brands, newsletter, mail, name. Even though the maximum allowable thrust load capacities for retaining rings are given in the manufacturer's technical manual, there are numerous design. Since 1857, Associated Spring engineers and amp manufactures innovative custom internal and external retaining rings and amp snap rings for a multitude of applications. Retaining rings work by creating a shoulder that can hold components in place. The retaining shoulder is created when the ring attaches itself to the bore or shaft. Rotor Clip is the manufacturer of retaining rings, snap rings, circlips, non-threaded. Receive monthly news and valuable information pertaining to Rotor Clip and American Ring. True Manufacturing Solutions. News Archive. American Ring exhibiting at AIX 2017 August 23, 2017. American Ring to exhibit at Vegas Fastener Expo. Retaining rings are some of the simplest, most cost-effective and easiest to use retention technologies, especially for controlling axial movement. Circlips, spiral retaining rings and amp wave springs range from SD products. Spiral retaining rings and amp wave springs. News. Contact us. Search. Get the latest deals and news from MSC. External retaining rings fit into a groove on the outside of a shaft to hold assemblies in place in automotive and heavy. Smelly introduces new Hoopster retaining rings. Hoopster rings fit into much shallower grooves than regular snap rings or retaining rings. The Hoopster's low retaining rings and snap rings are fasteners used to axially position a component on a shaft or in a bore. This article explains the reasons why retaining rings can fail in automobiles and generators. It also provides some information on reducing the chance of future ring. These bolt rings and replacement retaining rings are used for mating ICK to ICF style flanges of the same size. The isoflange, also called large IC, is used for MW Industries, Inc. manufactures custom, precision engineered retaining rings with various end configurations that are utilized in multiple applications. Retaining rings, also referred to as snap rings, are typically installed in a groove on the shaft or bore. The retaining ring acts as a shoulder. Quick switch replaceable tip retaining ring pliers. No service. Internal ring sizes from 113/16 for in and external. Stay up to date on industry news and retaining washers, retention washers, news, events and amp, literature, environmental statement, retaining rings, internal, external, E-style. Discover retaining rings and other pins. Get the latest deals and news from MSC. Internal retaining rings hold components in place on the inside of a shaft. Retaining rings, also known as coil rings, coiled rings, snap rings, round wire rings, circlips, square section rings, rectangular section rings, custom-shaped, Smalley expert shares tips and rules of thumb for designing the right custom retaining ring the first time. Retaining rings. Other types of retaining ring are crescent rings, snap rings, grip rings and U-type circlips. Latest news. O-Ring Selection Box July 3, 2017. Yuking Lisheng Spring Company Limited is best retaining ring, spiral retaining ring and wave spring supplier. We has good quality products and amp service from China. News about our history, our mission, pins and amp, retaining rings, ring retaining steel, as 5127, ring retaining, as 50112, retaining ring steel, as for 2728, pin, by a news reporter staff news editor at Journal of Engineering from Alexandria, Virginia. Vertical news journalists report that a patent by the inventors Wilson